Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a Dota Talk presentation of the Battle of Pride Finals. This is a best of 5 series between Ledion and Arrow Gaming. This is going to be a really interesting one, guys. We have seen Arrow go up through the brackets, take down many Philippine teams, as well as quite a few Malaysians as well. They've been just dominant in almost every single match that we've gotten to cast them. I think they had one single opponent that gave them a run for their money. As a result, since I can't be two places at once, cast two games at once, I haven't really gotten to see as much of Ledion, but the last time I saw them, they were looking really, really good as well. Formerly known as Dreams, they have been accomplishing a lot just based on their own outside of their previous sponsorship. Arrow Gaming, formerly known as Ledion, are the ones that are going to be representing Malaysia, while Ledion will be representing the Philippines in our Battle of Pride finals between these two countries, and obviously plenty of people in the Twitch chat showing their pride for their countries and everything else. But anyway, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Once again, this is Blaze of Dota Talk, and I'm happy you guys are either tuning in the client in Dota TV or via the Twitch at twitch.tv/DotaTalkTV2. So, one way or another, however you are enjoying the game, I hope that you will be able to stick with us for the whole series, because I think this one's going to go the distance. I think that these two teams are up at the caliber and competitive level that it really could be a back and forth throughout the series. And I love to see these more advanced series. As much fun as letting 100 plus teams go into a tournament is, the fact is, you don't get as much of a really saturated Dota experience spectating a best of 1. When you see a best of 3 or a best of 5, you get to see this series develop, the metagame, the transitional elements where each team kind of has a back and forth counter pick strategy, and in general just learns the other team until at that point you can learn them much like yourself. You can try to overcome that adversity, and we'll see if these two teams are up to the challenge. I'm inspired by what these teams have brought to the table here in this final game, and although it may be a small-ish prize pool of only $500 US, this has just been a weekend tournament where these guys have played the game that they love, and now get a chance to fight over that prize pool here. So, going through the draft, as I've been jabbering on a little bit here, I'm going to be solo casting at least for a little bit. Congo Kyle's got some family stuff going on, so happy to be able to give you guys some of that solo cast. I've been up since like literally 12:30 in the morning, my time, since I am on the East Coast of the United States of America. And yeah, I've just been running on huge amounts of caffeine and 6 hours of sleep. So, looking forward to this game and getting hype. Starting off, we see the banning phase initially taking out the Slark and the Bristleback in terms of Ledion, and Arrow Gaming decided to take out the Timbersaw and the Visage, so that'll open them up to take two of their favorite heroes, the Alchemist and the Enchantress. The Enchantress will most certainly be picked up by Mozun, supporting up in the jungle, but Alchemist could be run either as a carry by Lance or as a support. Haven't seen him run as a solo mid in a very long time, but still a very powerful hero, very prominent in his own right, and the fact that he has some flexibility in roles certainly does him favors in the draft, though he was taken down a bit of a notch in 6.80 in the recent patch. Anyways, Ledion pick up an interesting combo themselves. I'm not so sure about the Nyx Assassin. Honestly, as soon as his stun was nerfed and people weren't used to running his Impale and using it as a ground target ability, he fell off the competitive Dota scene 100%, but a couple of people that were really good at landing the skill shot still kept plugging away with him, and he still has quite a bit of prominence against high-intelligence opponents like Outward Devourer and stuff. But now we're seeing him as first pick material for Ledion, and I find that quite interesting to behold. Definitely puts more emphasis on the gank momentum and a lot of nuke damage, either physical or magical. Puts that on the board. But either way, the other pickup, Doom, seems more of a counter pick. Picking it up in response to the Enchantress allows them to devour her creeps so that she doesn't have as many effective units on the board, and that's so much more powerful when you consider it that way. Also, of course, the silence is always good against an Alchemist. If you see him charging his Unstable Concoction, throw a Doom on him, and suddenly he's stunning himself, taking a world of hurt, and that's just going to be a problematic circumstance for him to be in. So, as the draft progresses, we do see the banning phase go through with Tinker and Lifestealer to be taken off the board. Interesting bans, and then the Clockwork and Storm Spirit, as they are concerned a bit about that long-range initiation. So they will pick up for themselves the Luna, who, if she can pick up a BKB at a good time, will be able to fight like no other. Huge damage from her Eclipse, especially in jungle engagements, and crazy late game physical damage with her Cleave. So a lot of things expected from her. She's going to be in the #1 role, and that's going to be quite promising indeed. Looking over at Arrow Gaming, they are entering their next phase here, and are a little bit puzzled as far as how they're going to deal with this. I mean, this is a lot of damage. The Vendetta Strike, the Doom, and the Eclipse and physical auto attacks, it all combines to a really, really painful combination. And so what they really needed is either tanky heroes or burst heals. And that meant they need to either pick up a mechanism or pick up just heroes that are naturally durable. And Lone Druid certainly fits the bill here. He's going to have 2 targets that can be hit by Eclipse, both the Spear Bear and himself. And as far as innate tankiness, he does have that True Form, which will provide him a nice HP and armor buffer. So he'll be able to push very effectively in synergy with the Enchantress, and he is going to be able to deal with a lot of this upfront damage. So we'll see how it plays itself out, but for right now I think that's a very solid pick, and a very safe one at that. It definitely still fits their strategy as a whole, and we'll be seeing some cool things from them in the near future. Beyond that, like I said, I would prefer to have a more natural mechanism carrier than Enchantress. Enchantress can technically go for the mechanism, but we often see her prioritize different pickups like the Force Staff or the Aghanim Scepter just to get some extra damage and utility on the field. With the mechanism, you get that extra HP buffer so that Alchemist has more of an opportunity to benefit from Chemical Rage. Keeping him up long enough, you get a quick burst of healing so that he can live long enough to benefit from the heal over time of Nature's Attendance and Chemical Rage. But, you know, it's not the worst case scenario if Enchantress has to go mech, but you might want to look at maybe putting it on an offlane hero instead. Unfortunately, most of the heroes that fit that bill, Bristleback, Clockwork, and Timbersaw, were banned out very early in this draft. The next pickup from Ledion is going to be Invoker. And I have high expectations for this Invoker pickup, either Exhort or Wex. Obviously, Exhort isn't as big of a deal nowadays with the Force Spirit nerf, but it's still competitive, I think is a perfectly fine word for that. Along with that, if they do go for the Wex build, the EMP Tornado plus Mana Burn, that's a hell of a lot of Mana Burn, and then you can get some Necro Creeps from either Doom or one of the 2 former heroes, and suddenly you've got an Enchantress who can't Impetus to save her life, you've got an Alchemist who might not be able to get a stun off. Plenty of different problems come into play when you have the Tornado, most importantly the EMP flying out, and you don't have enough Arcane Boots to supplement that mana deficit. But I might be getting ahead of myself. For all we know, this is just going to be a classic Exhort Invoker, and we'll just kind of see where he takes it from there.
Dire Team ban.
So Sand King is going to be the next pickup for Arrow Gaming. Pretty interesting selection here. We've actually seen a lot of recent DDZ mid Sand King, so I'm curious to see if maybe we're going to see like a support Alchemist, a farming Lone Druid, or even an offlane Lone Druid would be okay, and then a mid Sand King. Like, I actually think that's what it's going to be, is DDZ on the mid up against Invoker. It's not as good melee versus ranged matchup, but you're still going to get a lot out of the Sand King, being able to build up towards a very early Blink Dagger, or one of DDZ's very interesting item progressions, which is rushing Phase Boots and Drums of Endurance, and a bottle, of course. So you get some good extra stats padded with the +9 to all, you get some good mobility, some good right-click damage, and when you've got 2 points in Caustic anyways, you're going to be wanting to apply that as frequently as possible with some good right-clicks. So yeah, it's a pretty solid combo. Of course, it deprives them of getting that early blink, which blink into Burrow Strike or Epicenter into Blink into Burrow Strike are both extremely powerful for bursting down, but it all comes down to timing. If Luna picks up her BKB at a good time, maybe the Sand King isn't going to be as big of a threat to her, and is going to have to focus down on her allies for the most part. So we'll see how it plays out. Like I said, I do suspect it's going to be DDZ's mid Sand King, but I don't think it has to be. I mean, if they really wanted to run Lance as the Alchemist, the Enchantress and Sand King could support. It's just harder to have a dual melee lane, Sand King and Alchemist together. They're not going to be able to accomplish too much on that safe lane situation, and that would also throw Lone Druid into a less favorable position. He's not a great suicide laner. He's just not a great, I don't know. He used to be really good at suicide lane, and technically he still has as much to gain, but he has a lot more to lose if they do pick off his bear early. Anyways, the final selection from Ledion is actually a pretty interesting one. A very powerful counter synergy. We do see the Ice Blast and the Ancient Apparition as a whole is picked up. Ice Blast is really good against Enchantress and Alchemist, as we do see, like I said, I've been talking a lot about the healing over time of the Chemical Rage and the Nature's Attendants, but we'll see how well it comes into play, how on the mark Yosh is with those ultis once he does hit level 6. But for now, let's talk about lanes. Darkseer is going to be running on the off lane. This is going to be their drafter and offlaner, Bad Slow Game. He is going to be running on the top lane. We're going to see Lance on the Lone Druid being supported by Xiang Zai on the bottom lane, leaving Mozun to jungle and gank. And then DDZ will indeed be running that mid Sand so it should be a pretty interesting setup here. But we're going to have a bit of a pause here, so let's go ahead and start things off the right way by shouting out the sponsors and supporters of the tournament. It's what makes it happen, so for those that enjoy the Dota, you have to also enjoy the sponsors' support of it. And as a result, shout out to DatBet for sponsoring it, shout out to Dota Talk for organizing it, and eClub for supporting it with servers and all that good stuff. Anyways, like I said, this is a best of 5 in the Battle of Pride, and this is, but what better matchup could you ask for? A Malaysian team versus a Filipino team. I mean, that's exactly what you're looking for in that kind of setup. And of course, I myself am the caster. That is Blaze at twitter.com/blazecasting. His statman felt like throwing that one up, and I do have a statman that is Zero, XERO. He has his own live stream as well, but he's going to be providing some nice little stats for this series. So, once again, this is a best of 5 between these two teams. In the corner of the Radiant, representing Malaysian Dota, this is Arrow Gaming. Another pause, oh my goodness. I was waiting for the pause to get a more, emphatic introduction, but since I started, might as well go through it all. It is going to be Arrow Gaming, representing Malaysia. DDZ, Sand King, starting off with a very conservative build, looking for the bottle at a very early time. It's going to be Bad Slow Game, also known as Hawaii, on behalf of the Darkseer. He's going to be going for a Soul Ring very early on. It's actually a greedy build that took a while to take effect in the most recent Darkseer game that he got to play. He actually didn't get his Soul Ring until he went to the jungle, and that was like 6 or 7 minutes in the game. So I'm not so sure. I'm still not convinced on the rushing the recipe if you know that you're going to be contested directly on the lane, but I can understand in a 1v1 matchup it is a really good build up to go. Anyways, that's going to be him running on the off lane, leaving Lance to carry up on the Lone Druid. We're expecting a very early Radiance time from him. Lance loves to play carries like the Spectre or the Naga Siren, who pick up that Radiance at a great time, and Lone Druid is no exception. If he gets safe lane farm, you better believe that's what he's going to be picking up, and not only will it dramatically enhance his own farm rate, but it's such a pain in the neck to deal with for Ledion. He could just go ahead, put the bear behind enemy lines, behind towers, and deal damage over time through the Radiance burn without even risking his own person. So, very annoying, and it's going to be super effective, I believe, assuming Lance gets to that point at an early stage in the game. In the meantime, we will see Xiang Zai going to be running on the Alchemist. Going to be, of course, trying to get his 6 as early as possible so that he can tank up in the fights and, of course, have guaranteed mana pool sustainability. He's going to be starting off just with sentries and trying to make sure that they can control wards and gank up effectively, but it's going to be Mozun to pick up the Smoke of Deceit, and after a couple of creeps picked up in the jungle, he's either going to have to designate himself one way or another. He's going to say, I'm going to stack up camps and farm with a Wild Wing Tornado, or I'm going to go gank crazy. And more often than not, Mozun does prefer to gank very actively and very early. Maybe not in the first 2 minutes, but certainly multiple times throughout the first 6 or 7. That being said, it does rely a bunch on the spawns of the Enchantress, and if the Enchantress doesn't have a lot going for her in the jungle as far as ganking creeps, then she might be better off just getting some early golden experience and finding some good core items. Anyways, I've talked plenty about Arrow, and now we're looking over at Ledion as they have now connected into the game, and looks like we're good to go. Awesome. So, in the dire corner, we will be seeing Ledion. This is formerly known as Dreams. By the way, Arrow is formerly known as Loyat, so progressing their namesakes a little bit here as they try to get more reputation and battle for pride and for their own names. We're going to see down on the bottom lane that is going to be Doc carrying it up on the Luna. Going to start off with the Basilius pretty early, maybe into an Aquila, but we're going to see possibly an aggressive tri-lane out of them. But right now they're going to invade the jungle, which in of its own right is very potent with this kind of a lineup. But without any disables from Bonjourlais, because he is so far behind, it might be difficult to actually pin down their intended target. We'll see. But for right now, it is going to be Bonjourlais on the Nyx Assassin. That's Yoshcat on the Ancient Apparition. It's going to be YSREB. I know he's got another alias, but I couldn't. My Steam was messing up, so I couldn't check it. Anyways, he's going to be running on the Doom. And it looks like it's going to be actually a solo lane for him as well. So Invoker is actually, Primo Mage is going to be running a safe lane solo Invoker, and it's going to be Sand King versus Doom in the mid. That's actually a pretty nice situation for the Sand King, if I do say so myself.
Invisibility.
But starting things off, it really comes down to how this bottom lane works out. Like I said, if the Enchantress is forced out of her jungle, if she either can't find the right spawns or doesn't get any spawns at all, as we see these wards coming down to block off the camps, then it's going to force Mosin into a position where he has to go in the Dire jungle and might not necessarily give Lance the security he was hoping for. So we see 2 camps blocked off by wards, maybe a body block coming in for, nope, no, 2 spawns, but it doesn't really matter. Mosin has already made his way to the enemy jungle and is scouting things out for himself, finding the Centaur. So, it's going to be a pretty interesting matchup here. DDZ already starting off with the Caustic Finale and already has enough gold to pick up the bottle. So, like I said, that conservative build can do work. Oh, wow! Tons of damage onto Doc already. He has that short-range auto attack, was trying to take advantage of the Chilling Touch. Forced to tunnel through with the Tangos as he's taken quite a beating from the Spirit Bear and from the Alchemist Stun alike. So, not the tankiest hero in the bunch, but with plenty of restoration from her supports, that shouldn't be happening once more. Anyways, up on the top lane is a 1v1 matchup between Bad Slow Game and Invoker. And just with the Ion Shell, he's going to be able to put out quite a bit of pressure until the Invoker picks up what I believe will be a Hand of Midas. Being able to Midas and Ion Shell creep, as well as get the bonus experience towards your Quaz and Exhort, it's very important to find that key timing in level 9 where you get the double forward spirits. Anyways, we do see a flank to gank, 2 great ganking creeps coming in from Mosin, and this could be our first blood. We do hear already the Burrow Strike coming across. I'm trying to remember how to say this, but anyways, Doom is dropping low. We'll pop the Scorched Earth, and the bottle getting enchanted up. Can they get in range for the Hellbear Smash Clap? Yes, Burrow Strike sets up this first blood, and Mosin will take it for himself. A very nice movement there. And that is exactly what they're looking for to start off this game. A good flank to gank, and most importantly, just aggressive movement from the Sand King. Already doing some good damage over time, and the healing from the Scorched Earth is just completely insufficient. But like I said, with every benefit they get in the mid and top lane, they're losing out a little bit on this bottom lane. Lance would love to be free farming away. Right now, only finding his 5th creep kill. So he's doing his best, trying to last hit with the combination of 43 damage on the bear and 56 on his own hero. But it's a difficult position to be in. As far as the bear's magic resistance, right now it's at 0%. When he gets a passive, I believe Demolish, he will have magic resistance, but until then, Chilling Touch actually really, really hurts. It's very direct damage coming into the bear, and since he just popped his first resummon, that's probably his most vulnerable point to that kind of harassment directly. But for now, he seems to be holding his own, forcing them back to a behind creep wave perspective. 2 versus 3, it's definitely a pretty good perspective to be in, where you can still be a little bit aggressive, even if you're not finding that early farm. Looking over in the jungle, Mosin's looking very strong right now, going to find his level 3 very early, and we do see that Hawaii is able to get whatever he wants out of the lane situation. He will get hit by the Cold Snap, and this is going to hurt quite a bit, but I don't think it'll be a kill. It has to be an amazing Sunstrike from Primo Nation. In fact, coming around with the Ion Shell, double Ion Shell, and Centaur Stomp, they turn it around to pick him off. Very nicely done. Invoker will fall. However, on the bottom lane, while all that's going on, simultaneous kill on the Lone Druid here, and the timing couldn't be worse for Lance. 100 seconds without a Spirit Bear. Where does this guy go? Where does this guy farm if he doesn't have a bear and he's up against 3 heroes? Like, this is the perfect time for Ledion to bring him down, and now he's just shaking his head and knowing that, at least for the early half of this game, it's not going to be very favorable for him. Fortunately, they're faring well on the other parts of the map, we do see DDZ has found 25 for 3 CS advantage over the Doom's 14 for 0. He picked up the haste rune at the 2-minute mark, though Doom will now claim a double damage at the 4. So, definitely a prominent member of the Pinoy scene. Ledion is definitely considered one of the top 3 teams in the Philippines, at least from my perspective. Obviously, the power rankings can differ depending on your perspective. But we do see down at bottom, Alchemist, the Sunstrike should guarantee this kill, and indeed, it almost claims it. Nyx Assassin's the one to get the last hit on that, but just getting more money on the board for them. They even up 2 for 2, and in the mid lane, actually, diving deep, DDZ takes a huge wall hopping from this tower. The double damage popped off from Doom, and it looked like he tried to turn around for the kill. Of course, still a little shy of that level 6. In the meantime, though, DDZ super aggressive with these phase boots, and Mozen coming in with the Wild Wing to tank it up. But it looks like in the end, it will be a fruitless endeavor, and they will have to go back to their designated lanes. Great control of Ledion as far as the jungle goes, blocking off the pull camp as well. It means that really Xiangzai is just a spectator in this lane. Like, he would love to be up front and center, he would love to be brawling out with his stun, but because they have a numbers disadvantage, all he gets to do is sit and watch. Looks like Lance will be able to opt out and go ahead and farm up the jungle a little bit here to make up for some lost ground from the safe lane. But since they can't pull, they can't really control the Creequilibrium, and we do see it kind of boxed out here where they would just die off if they overextended. We do see an attempt for the bottom rune catch up. We'll see if Doom gets lucky here. And it is going to be an Invis rune for him, so not too shabby for him, though currently prioritizing getting those phase boots up to match DDZ's movement speed. Tick for tack. Tip for tap, whatever. In the meantime, Bonjourlet has rotated his top lane, helping out Invoker a little bit, as he is under quite a bit of pressure right now. He has opted for a multi-orb strategy, 2-1-2. As a result, his HP regen is okay at 7.4, but not as high as it could be. Same with his offensive potential. But now Bonjourlet, the one who tried to offer the assistance, is in fact the one feeding his life away. Sand King rotates in, and they get a great pickoff. That's the problem with nighttime, is if you don't see a kill coming, they can be on you in seconds, and Sand King at level 7 is already in range for his Burrow Strike by the time you actually catch a glimpse of him. So, pretty big pickoff there, finding the Nyx Assassin and shutting down his early experience. That means he's not going to find his mana burn anytime soon, and certainly nowhere near his Vendetta. However, the Doom will come out on Darkseer, and I think this is a dead man walking. No one to deny him. Yeah, taking too much damage, and that will be a very solid pickup on their offlaner. In the meantime, Mozen kind of keeps doing his thing. Picking up there, and I was going to say he might have picked up a Kobold, but that seems pointless as it does time out pretty rapidly. Bonjourlet back down bottom. Looks like they want to fight here, as we have seen DDZ rotate as well. Like I said, he's going for that unique build, picking up the Drums of Endurance, Bottle, and Phase Boots. And they're going to go in. Xiangzai will land the stun onto a 4 armor Ancient Apparition, but will they be able to finish the job here? DDZ, Phase Boots in close, the Burrow Strike connects, and that will be a very nice kill. So, good control from him. He'll be able to bottle up with the courier delivering its goods, and he's going to be looking at the Ancient Django in a very short time. In the meantime, we do see Primo having to use his Ghost Walk. He was caught in a bad position and just did not want to have to deal with all that. So he will escape via Ghost Walk. It is only a 30-second cooldown, 35-second cooldown now. But the damage is done. I mean, we see that the tower fell. Oh, wow. I didn't catch this, but looking at the chat log, we see that Invoker actually got a deny on the tower, whether from Forge Spirit or just from a very well-timed A-click. Either way, he was able to turn things around nicely. Double Burrow Strike coming out. Bonjourlet definitely going to... No! Okay, there we go. The Epicenter gets canceled by the Lucent Beam. He was looking for more. Got a little greedy, but will be picked off by the Sunstrike in the end. So, in the end, it's a 1-for-1, a mid for a support. Not the trade he was looking for, but it's kind of to be expected. He got really, really aggressive in a position where they were ready for him, and at the very least, he did get something out of his aggro play. I mean, that's DDZ's style. DDZ loves to play very aggressive heroes in the mid lane, Storm Spirits, Pucks, things like that, and if he could dive deep, he's certainly going to. Now Lance is in a bit of a bad spot. We do see Doom is off cooldown, And if they wanted to, they could try for a dive. However, I don't know if it would be in their best interest. Although Mosin actually does have a TP scroll. The Dark... wow, I have to commend. I was going to say at least some of them don't have TPs, but not at all. We do see that Bad Slow Game has a TP scroll and almost Mechanism. And Mosin's ready to rotate as well. So they are in a very responsive state of mind. They really want to start this game 1 off correctly. Because... a single slip up and it could cost them a ton of traction in this game, because the Luna getting late game farm is probably going to be able to trump just about anything that Arrow can bring. Actually, big damage coming out onto Mosin with this Chilling Touch. The attack speed is so slow from Untouchable, but locked in place with the Cold Feet, it still might be enough to bring her down. No, actually Impetus gets reflected. A single burrow coming onto YSRB. Still don't know how to say that. I'm going to just call him Doom. But we do see Impetus flying here on to Yoshcat, and not really anything going to happen from that. Like, I thought there was going to be at least one kill involved, but in the end, just good movement. A missed Impale. Now actually turning around, Burrow Strike is going to set up this kill, and Sand King will be the one to greedily take that up. Happy to get some revenge. I mean, obviously he's already killed him once before, but at what cost? Now we see the gold momentum is enough to fuel Bad Slow Game's Mechanism. They're going to be able to push with this very aggressively. I mean, DDZ has his drum looking for his blink, and a last hit on a tower would be well on his way to bring him there. But we do see an attempt to get a good Centaur stomp off on 2 with that Invis Rune. Instead, just going to hit on Dead Air, same as Bonjourlays. And in this position, I don't think much is going to happen. In fact, right now they're just trying to buy space. Space created for Lance to demolish on this tower, and that's very dangerous indeed. I'm actually not sure why Lance isn't just right-clicking the tower with the bear. I mean, it hurts really hard. He has... oh, no resummon for a minute. Maybe that's the reasoning behind it. We do see the Surge trying to actually connect onto Luna, but not going to find that opening just yet. And yeah, as the Statman's saying, Arrow is really on a roll. They have been doing so much work in the best of ones recently. Obviously, every single game that they've been up to in this tournament is subject to a potential elimination, so they definitely had to take the wins, but very few of them seem to even make them sweat. They were in such a strong point, in such a strong perspective, and a great state of mind right now. Taking towers left and right, though they are losing a little bit on the top lane here. Now, Primo went for this Midas build, as I talked about. He benefits a ton from the experience, and now has set him up for a 4-1-4 build, where although his Invocation ultimate, or whatever you want to call it, has been delayed in its skilling, it does mean that they... oh, wow, Epicenter, big damage coming out. That's going to be a solo kill. DDZ onto Doc, just getting a good Burrow Strike into Epi, and there was nowhere for Doc to go. Actually, a really good rotation from DDZ. But as I was saying, yeah, now he has the double Forge Spirits, and he has all 10 spells at his disposal with that 1 point in the Wex. So we'll be seeing some really cool combos coming in from him, maybe a Meteor or something. But DDZ finds out Primo, gets doomed up immediately, but can be surged away. So the Cold Snap is the only thing locking him in position. A Centaur Stomp actually doing some work here. Then they will get the kill on him. Very nicely done from the Doom, as well as the Invoker. Did his best work, but Darkseer just couldn't bail his buddy out, and as a result, the 5th kill is on the board for Ledion. Looking back over to last hits right now, we do see that Darkseer was able to farm up quite effectively with that Ion Shell. DDZ, of course, dominated the mid lane. But beyond that, Invoker is actually trumping over the Lone Druid's last hits. So he actually had a pretty good time in that 1-versus-1 matchup, and the Midas is going to fuel him towards a powerful mid-game experience. Golden experience, that is. Now we do see the smoke popping off. Mosin shredded before our eyes. Oh my goodness, that is getting ugly. I actually think they overcommitted. They put too many spells out by far. Like, they only needed literally 2 spells. They cast at least 5. Specifically, this Eclipse was completely superfluous. If there was a second hero there, it would have been great usage, but they have the night vision advantage with this Lunar Blessing. They should have known that there was only one person, and as a result, pulling the trigger like that just gives them less bullets to fire in the near future. Anyways, cleaning up with the Acid Spray, they're going to take a couple of stacks of Ancients here, and checking out the goal graph, we see that Arrow are pulling ahead to a decent extent, and this seems to be the trend that we've seen in most of their games. They get a good early lead, and in some cases they lose 1 or 2 fights, but as a whole they still hold that advantage. We'll have to see if it retains true for this one here, as Ledion are trying to answer back the best they can. Their biggest problem right now, I would say, is that their Nyx Assassin is still level 5, and their Luna is not the most farmed. I mean, right now, a net worth value of 3850. It's not really good for a 3 versus 2 lane to start off. So he will pick up his drums now, but it feels lackluster in the timing, especially when you consider DDZ not only having his drums, but Phase Boots, Magic Wand, Bottle, and now Blink Dagger. Like, he is decked out. This is exactly where you want to be as a level 11 Sand King, and he's going to be able to make some real magic happen with this. On top of that, not only does he have a huge amount of stats, plus 12 to his intelligence, but the Blink Dagger cost reduction in 6.80. Oh, actually didn't catch that on top. Lone Druid Lance getting picked off, and his bear is on cooldown for a minute. So he will have a Midas Recipe, but I'll have to check his items on the bear. I think he has the Sacred Relic. We'll see. But anyways, he got caught out, farming a little bit too far in a bad position, and they were able to combine their Doom and Cold Snap once again to bring him down. But like I said, DDZ's in a really good spot. The Blink Dagger doesn't cost any mana at all, so he can cast 2 or 3 Burrow Strikes as well as a great Epi combo, and it's going to get very scary for Ledion if they do cluster up too much. So looking at Lance's farm, we do see the, like I said, the Radiance Recipe, but we'll have to wait 20 seconds to see that relic. But looking at the net worth, I'd say, yeah, that's exactly what he's got on the bear, and completing that will set him in the right direction towards a very solid mid game. Cold Snap comes out onto bad slow game. Will not get caught out by the Centaur Stomp, but still losing a lot of armor, a decent amount of life, and the tower is going to take quite a few hits here. It's going to fall to Invoker. In the meantime, a flank to gank from Beaujolais. They will start off with the Ice Blast. Big damage coming out, and with the Sunstrike, they should get the kill. Yes! Completely shatters him. As soon as they hit with 2 globals, the perfect stun setup from Beaujolais, they're actually able to even the odds. This is the equalizer here at 8-8. So although they are still behind in gold, they have matched in experience and in kills. And they have plenty of potential gold on the board if you consider the tier 1s that have yet to be claimed. Tier 1 in the mid, tier 1 in the bottom, are both things that Arrow has already taken, and so you assume that gold advantage, but in this case, Ledion still have that money to take. And take it they will. In this position, if they can just get a pick off on the Sand King, so they don't have to worry about the epicenter initiation or counter initiation as it is, then they can easily push several towers very quickly, because they have auras from Doom, auras from Luna, a lot of right-click damage flying out. But for now, passivity will ensue. They're happy to get some good farm on Doc, much needed at that, as he needs to finish up, maybe finish his drums, but certainly finish that BKB. Though, I was looking at, oh wow, actually, they're going to catch him out right here. Good Burrow Strike coming across, double Ion Shell, and there is a quick, clean kill. And they're actually going to snipe these Ancients. Now, Luna wasn't farming these very rapidly because she doesn't have a single point in Moonglaives. Like, I was actually astonished at this. Usually you see like a 4-1-2 build or something like that. You only put 2 points in the Lunar Blessing so you can get some Moonglaives up early. But his allies were kind enough to stack those Ancients for him, and he does only single target damage at 330 attack range. So, inevitably, he was going to be taking a long time. And with this Observer Ward in place, Arrow were very precise in their movement there. They smoke him up, they kill him down, and now he's set back even further from that BKB. Radiance pushing away with the Ion Shell, creeps waves evaporating, and this tier 2 is going to be under fire very quickly. So we'll see how they want to respond. We do see the Ice Blast going to come out, and that will hit on a few, but it's not enough right now. I mean, DDZ might even find a solo kill if he just gets a vision of Yoshcat. But for right now, worried maybe about the Nyx Assassin. Vendetted up. Concoction is charging right now. Not sure if they can actually get vision, though. No, he's going to stun himself. Detection. Oh, the Sentry Ward was here. So they did see Nyx go into the tree line, but they won't be able to do anything more than that. In fact, just outside of vision, though, his Vendetta has expired. So DDZ finds him out, gets the Burrow Strike, and that is going to be a kill on the Nyx Assassin. Tier 2 tower will most certainly fall, and this gold graph is starting to get out of control very quickly. And it's not just the extra, nice Lincoln Sphere up for Invoker. He would have been most likely dead to rights from that Burrow Strike if he hadn't had the Lincolns, but got it at a great time, and now it's quite effective. 16 minutes and 16 seconds. Yeah, that is pretty insane, honestly. Like, the Midas into Lincolns, this guy's not doing great as far as initial, like, laning farm goes, but you see his net worth come into play now with the Hand of Midas and with the few kills he's gotten on top lane and jungle, and he is looking strong. Getting that Lincoln Sphere, nullifying some very dangerous abilities, like the Unstable Concoction or the Burrow Strike, and yeah, I actually gotta say, I love that pickup. Maybe a smoke gonna come through from Arrow in a moment. No, they actually don't have any on their own person, and none on the courier either. So maybe soon, but not for right now. Now, one thing I have to say about Arrow's current position on the map is by taking the tier 1 tower in mid and taking 2 towers on bottom, they open up Roshan as a very real possibility for them in the near future. Because they've already got the Darkseer and the Sand King to cover it very effectively with their AoE combos. Ledion can't farm Rosh without, like, 100% the perfect smoke and a great distraction. So they don't have a chance of taking Rosh, but on the other hand, Arrow, if they look for it, won't have to really worry about the reinforcements from Ledion. They won't be able to TP to anything but this tier 2 mid. But as I say that, they're actually going to go for it here. Smoke movement. We'll see if they have that distraction or if it's going to be scouted out. Right now, Arrow has 1 creep. Could technically go in the pit with that Satyr, but it looks like they're not catching wind of it. They're actually going to let it go. If we look at the Radiant Vision, they have really nothing in this region. They have a good observer ward they just placed in mid, but that gives them no information about what's going on here. So the end result is a Aegis to the Immortal for Luna, a lot of much needed golden experience for Ledion, and this could be the beginning of a comeback if we consider the real potential of their mid to late game. I mean, right now they don't have a natural pipe carrier. Maybe the Lone Druid could pick it up, but Arrow Gaming are going to take a huge amount of damage from the Ice Blast and the Eclipse, and when you consider now Luna has 2 lives and is moving towards level 11, they're very close to getting into a fighting stance.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Still 1 Mithril Hammer short of that BKB though, and that's quite detrimental considering how much damage this Sand King can put out. So, all eyes resting on Doc here. He really needs to pick up this farm as quickly as possible. Finally has that point in Moonglaves. That will ramp it up quite a bit. We'll see what he can do from here. So, interesting build-up from Sand King. Is that a Rod of Atos? Yeah, that's, I mean, I can't say anything else. That's gotta be, unless he goes for, like, Dagon Necro. I mean, what else would you go? I mean, 4 staff and Necro, 4 staff and Dagon. There's technically a lot of combinations, but picking those 2 up at the same time implies to me that he really wants that Atos. And I'm curious for what purpose, just to make sure that the Epicenter hits on more. Oh, wow. Trying to pick off the Spirit Bear here. Actually, they're still going to get their opportunity. Meteor comes down on it pretty hard. Going to take a lot of hits and drop it down below 1,000 HP, but he still has that resummon and a decent chunk of HP on the bear, so in the end, quite a few cooldowns exhausted, but no direct harm done. But, like I said, it's all a distraction. It's all about creating space for Doc here, and it looks like he should be able to find this BKB. He's only 1,000 gold off. He's farming up quite readily, but time is ticking as the tier 2 is about to be pressed. They actually got win for the full resummon on the bear, 110 seconds on cooldown. But he is going to be putting a huge amount of damage into this tier 2 with this Demolish, and I think it's already dead. Like, the Battle Cry plus Demolish does so much work, and the best they can hope for is a Deny. Coming in, Primo will pick it up, the second Deny of the game as far as towers go. But still losing control of the map. It's a good thing and a bad thing. It's definitely a bittersweet victory for them. So, we do see continuously Doc farming up. We'll have the BKB so soon. And I know I said that like 5 times in the past 5 minutes, but it's so important to get a BKB on your carry versus Sand King. We do see a great Ice Blast coming out from Ancient Apparition. Not the longest distance, but still hits on all his intended targets. And it will ward them off the tower for the moment. So they're going to come back in. As soon as the Ice Blast fades, I'm assuming he's going to mech, but maybe not. We'll see.
Dire's top tower has
Tier 1 tower drops down on bottom. Luna, with that last hit, does have her BKB complete.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Not done yet, though. Okay, now she's going to TP back home, and we'll pick up the Black King bar for herself. So, what she essentially just did there is nullify the chance of the Sand King, picking her off solo, and most likely destroy her the chances of her getting taken down in the first few seconds of the fight. So essentially the epicenter damage, the concoction, all that stuff is stuff that she needs to avoid, and of course the Black King Bar being the one item that will enable that potential. Now we do see actually a small clash here. Will it be actually breaking down into anything larger? Ice Blast coming across onto Mozun, but not actually going to connect with anything relevant. And in fact, stealing up a Fort Spear for at least 17 seconds. So, like I said, some interesting pickups. So, 77% win rate with Ags in 25. And I definitely understand where their statistic is coming from. I mean, first of all, having any 4,200 gold item guaranteed on a support in 25 minutes, yeah, that's extremely good. But specifically this Aghanim Scepter, during the daytime, having this 740 attack range on something that boosts your damage so much with Impetus, especially once she finishes out to level 11, it's so darn hard for Ledion to deal with. Of course, they do have some tools. They have the BKB, Invoker now has a Yule's defensively, and they do have the Spike Carapace. So those three abilities could, in fact, reflect or at least nullify Mozun's potential there, but it still hurts. And if Mozun focuses the right targets, it definitely will be securing some kills here. Now we do see the movement on the front line. Battlecry on the bear. He'll be forced back to safety, so the cold snap will fade off without actually costing the bear's life. But just cat and mouse games with the Luna right now. What? She didn't have her... I'm kind of confused about that, seeing as she had the BKB completed, but it seems like she ventured to the top lane without it. I don't know about that. Either way, she's going to be moving towards Hemlo Diameter rapidly. She'll be able to stack up these Ancients very consistently and find a lot of farm there. On top of that, it's some much-needed lifesteal stats that will allow her to stay in the fight longer. Actually, a bad spot from Bonjourlet. No chance to carapace this. He will be picked off by the Enchantress. And in the meantime, Lance will find his second big item. Lance is going to pick up the Assault Cuirass for the bear.
Radiant's bottom tower
and it's going to head back to heal and then recall to the front line. So, if you thought this guy was a menace to towers before, just look at it in the next few minutes. When he starts chewing on these 2-3s, it's going to hurt. The bear just could care less. And on top of that, of course, it's a great team fight aura that's going to persist throughout the fight. On top of the Acid Spray, we're looking at a negative armor of 11. And when you consider the right-click damage of things like the Darkseer's Wall Replica, that is a really big deal.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Still, I'm not buying this Atos. Like, I know the stats are great on Sand King, but the active isn't going to kill anybody that you couldn't kill already, is my opinion on that. I love the Veil of Discord, not going to lie, but he just wants to set up his team. I mean, if you can get the slows to guarantee Concoction, guarantee Impetus, yeah, I can see it. I'm just personally not a fan. Alright, we do see some smoked on the backline movement. They're going to try to get a pick off here, perhaps? I don't know. I think they need to see Vendetta very shortly, and he needs to really get a good flank on this Sand King. We're talking a Impale to stop the epicenter, or this fight will be over before it's begun. We do see the Burrow Strike coming in on 2. Big damage coming out, and the Ice Blast is completely wasted by Ancient Apparition. Now we see Ntinkaproc locking in Bonjourlet, the wall, kind of dividing the fight here. Stun will finish off Bonjourlet, the Eclipse, hitting hard, but not finishing anybody off. If they had the AA ulti there, they would have found the Darkseer, but instead, they just Nature's Attendance right back up to full, and they're going to finish this push. No problem at all. Now the Ice Blast is cooling down 15 seconds, but without an Eclipse to back it up, I'm not sure if they can hold this mid. Tier 3 dropping down readily. Look at this tower just drop. Huge damage coming out. The bear just doesn't care whatsoever about all that's coming forth, and now vacuum together to try to put some pressure on Ancient Apparition. Now they won't get greedy, they won't go for the racks, but with this Epicenter, I actually think they could still probably do it. I mean, Epi is just such an amazing teamfight skill if you can get it off. At least for now, however. Looks like they're going to be happy with that, walk away, and perhaps wait for the Roche spawn. Let's check out this timer for ourselves. 8-minute timer has cooled down, and now within 0 to 3 minutes. It's 2 minutes and 4 seconds specifically. So, nice little bit of information there from the clock. So that is going to be 2/3 of the normal time. But just in case, we're going to see a Ledion smoke up. They know that it could be up, and they don't want to take that risk of giving the Aegis away to a hero like Lone Druid. Lance, interestingly enough, has put the Radiance on himself, kind of allowing him to farm more rapidly in the jungle by himself. And now putting it back on the bear, as it was kind of making just a shopping trip, I believe. Anywho, as far as map control goes, look at the observer wards. We do see right now Arrow has 2 in great positions, great aggressive positions, where they can see Doc moving about the map, trying to farm, and presumably can make appropriate smoke ganks in that regard. The only thing that the Team Ledion has is a recently placed Roche ward here, but as we've seen, if you get smoke up or you just get a good position where you can blink in, and so on and so forth, you can actually take Roche despite it being covered so effectively. Do see, once again, the Ice Blast will fly, but not going to hit on anything relevant as they're essentially just scouting things out with their globals.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
So, big damage is going to come on the melee racks here. Meteor and the Cold Feet trying to bring down the bear, actually bringing down Mozen. Wow, did that enchant to drop quick. They're very susceptible to the nukes, but here comes Bonjourlet blinking in to stun out the bear. There's an epicenter from DDZ. The wall of replica drops as well. The Doom is too late, my friend. The Invoker has fallen. Frozen ammunition from the Ancient Apparition heads towards the opposition. We're going to see it hit onto 3, but it's not enough to dissuade them just yet. We see the Impale come across, Lucent Beam onto Bad Slow Game, but he'll surge away. Actually, wants this Rax, and he's going to get it. Waste of vacuum here, unfortunately, but they got what they came for. They took the Rax down, and suddenly Arrow Gaming are just looking so good in this game. Of course, they have to defend on the top lane here. It has been pushed in a decent amount by Doc, but comparing that to the momentum they're about to get from this amid Rax, it opens up the Roche for them. It does so much in their favor. So they're going to go for this smoke movement here. Very well-timed smoke, but will it be enough? Once again, the Ice Blast will fly, hitting on a few, but they have that mechanism up to bring themselves back up to snuff after the fact. Kind of surprised that Darkseer didn't go for pipe, but I'll talk about that in a minute. As we do see the engagement to blink in, they have 3 in the Impale. The Eclipse comes across. Mozen getting shredded once again. Dead before the fight begins, but now a great stun from the Alchemist will bring Yoshcat low. Fortunately, he's already dropped his payload, so he's a low priority target. The bear will still chew on him very easily, and actually gets an entangle on Doc. Big damage coming into the Luna, and they will be able to kill off the enemy's carry. Triple kill for Lance as they open up Roshan 100%, and this is really setting things up for the win. It's not necessarily over yet, but it's costing them quite a bit. And now we actually see big damage on Primo, and I realize I was an idiot and neglected one simple fact. Atos may be a irrelevant active effect for a Sand King for the most part, but it is one of the most efficient items to cancel out a Lincoln Sphere. So really good, wise decision from DDZ to counter out Primo, since he is one of their big threats right now, is to say, hey, you got a Lincoln's, and I've got the remedy for that. So good use of Atos there. Teaching me something, commended for teaching. DDZ, what a player. Now he's got his Force Staff, his Atos, and his Epi Blink available. And I just don't know what can stop him. I mean, right now, let's look at the buybacks. Ledion does, in fact, have a buyback on Luna, and she is currently up and at him. But Invoker's going to have to get at least 1 assist if he's going to be able to buy back, assuming he dies in the next fight. Damage coming in. We're going to see a Blink Stomp coming in from the Doom. Big damage on Mozen. Oh, this guy takes all the hurt, but baits it in a triple epicenter burrow on the wall. And a big concoction coming out. They bring down the Doom, looking for Doc. I think they'll get him too. They force staff forward, but a nice deafening blast sends them away. Back in. They vacuum it together with the Burrow Strike, but they can't finish off Doc. They even try to force staff him out, but in the end, they just walk away. They Sandstorm, they run, and I think he lives, despite the Urn of Shadows here. Taking down the Rax, blinking in for the stun onto Primo, who really wanted to finish that SK off. DDZ lives, and Primo is forced to Ghost Walk in his own base. Now Doc is back up and kicking a lot of HP at his disposal. Let's see how he can use it. There. Throwing him off. Actually, the Burrow Strike coming out. Ice Blast might hit on DDZ? No. Just gonna get the Ice Effect onto Lance. A Sandstorm? No. On cooldown. The DDZ will finally drop down, but they got the Luna for it. They got the bottom Rax in addition to their previously obtained mid, and now they are just running around and farming Ledion's heroes. The Eclipse does come across, though. That's going to be enough to pop the Aegis of the Immortal on the Lone Druid. As well, Xiangzai is in a very bad spot right here. Has his TP, but like I said, It doesn't look like he's going to get a chance to use it. Now we do see the Doom come out on the Darkseer. He's going to go on the run. Lance should drop down a second time, but we'll have to see if the Doom can really do enough. He popped his BKB, but now it's gone, and the Impetus, look at that damage. In fact, might be enough to bring up Primo. He goes for the Tornado, but the Bear is chasing with this Radiance Burn, and it will get this kill. Just walking after him. Never say no to Panda. And you know why. But anyways, we do see Mosin picked off once again. Not really a surprise, considering he's been the sacrificial lamb of Arrow Gaming all game long. But even sitting at a 4-5-2 KDA, he still knows that his team is in a dominant position. And that's plenty for a support player such as him. Looking over the grass, as we see this game drawing towards the very end, I presume. Unless there's a crazy comeback that takes another 20 minutes, we're going to be seeing this one in the books in a few minutes. But for now, getting a status report of 12,000 gold advantage for Arrow and about 8,000 in terms of experience. My goodness, this is just a fun game to watch, a fun game to cast. The combos, the team fight abilities, and the crazy gutsy dives behind tier 4s. I mean, what more can you ask for an SEA final match? Taking a tally of what's going good for Ledion, we do see that they, like I said, have the BKB in addition to the Blink mech on Doom. As well, they have found a Yasha on the Luna, so she might be able to Manta out of Entangles pretty soon, we'll see. But other than that, it looks pretty bleak, guys. It looks pretty bleak. In fact, an interesting position for DDZ. He blinks up here with the Smoke of Deceit, hiding inside the tree line here, and this could be incredible. Do they see it? It doesn't look like it. They are going to go in, and here comes this Epicenter. Now, there is a BKB on Doom, but Primo Nage is going to be picked off, no problem at all. Xiangzai will have to run away as he is hit by the Frostbitten debuff. But they've already taken down Nyx, they've taken down Invoker, and they're going to take this game right here, right now. Eclipse comes across, Mosin shrugs it off, throws out a few impetuses while Lance goes to town. Big damage coming out on Doc, one more impetus strike, and there she goes. Double kill for DDZ, godlike for Lance, and the GG comes out as Ledion concedes game 1 of this best of 5. What an amazing game to start off this best of 5 series. I can't wait to see what these two teams have in store for us in the next game, which will be coming up in just a few minutes. As a reminder, guys, this is the Battle of Pride sponsored by DatBet, so shout out to them as well as eClub and Dota Talk for supporting and organizing the tournament. And thank you guys, viewers, for tuning into this amazing game. I had a lot of fun with it, and hopefully you did as well, and we'll be seeing you guys on the next game here. So game 2 of the best of 5 series coming up between Arrow Gaming and Ledion in just a few minutes. If you guys didn't catch it, I'm Blaze of Dota Talk, and if you enjoyed the commentary or just want to provide some feedback, you can look me up on twitter.com/blazecasting. Thanks, guys.